Happy Wednesday to you, everyone. I hope you're having a great day out there. I want to continue on with my animal personality series. And yesterday we talked about descriptions for personality traits that were assigned to producers or scroungers. And remember that producers are those animals that from a genetic standpoint, and then of course you can always get that environment into it, are those animals that are more bold. They're risk takers. The bigger the risks, the greater the reward. These are animals that have more access to food because they're more likely to explore novel environments and novel objects and new food sources and new territories. And then we had scroungers, and they're not producers. They're not the big risk takers. They're less likely to explore new environments, novel objects, try to acquire new food sources. No, instead they're going to parasitize on the producers. They're actually just going to be like parasites and hang out with them and let the producers take all the risk and get all the injuries while they get to take the leftovers. Today I want to move on because in the natural evolution in which this is how personalities we believe came to be. As you're born into this world, you become a living thing in this world, you are up against the evolutionary rule of mind, the law of limited resources. And because of that, competition sets in. Otherwise, you either A, compete and win, or you're just simply going to vanish and disappear. And that created personalities, producers and scroungers, but it was also able to produce cooperators and defectors. Wow, what does that sound like? Geez, I kind of just hear those two words off the bat immediately as I was preparing for this video. I thought, man, I know a couple of those on two legs, cooperators and defectors. Defectors are more selfish animals. They're the ones that are willing to kick back, a little bit like those scroungers. They're willing to let someone else take all the risk and do all the work, and they want to achieve a benefit from that. Whereas the cooperators, man, that's what they're doing. They're for the benefit of all the animals around them and in their group. So as we move down this little path here, what is cooperation? How can you define cooperation? Well, cooperate means to behave in such a way as to make benefits that could be obtained from joint action possible. Yeah, and an individual can cooperate by acting in a way that makes cooperation or as an outcome even possible. I'm going to do things that makes our effort together, me and you, or me and a bunch of you, we do things together and the outcome will either be positive or it even be negative. There's not always success just simply because you cooperate. How many examples can we use of that in our life? So that being said, let's move on down the road and figure out why did nature decide to give personality traits such as producer, scrounger, cooperator, defector. Okay, one of the things that we can think of is that when you're a group living animal, especially if you're a group living predator, your environment will dictate that you will need the assistance at some point of another member of your group to survive. Wolves do very well during the summertime by themselves. Very well. They don't need the help of other wolves. They don't need that cooperation. They just don't. They can bring down a medium-sized animal by themselves. There's plenty of hares to hunt. There's moles, there's voles. There's lots of game to hunt during the summertime. A lot of scavenging. Kind of do it on my own. Don't really need you at this point. But come wintertime, when old man winter sets in and brings on that brutal cold, then game becomes scarce. Energy consumption much higher. I think I might need you to help me, and both of us, if we help one another, we can get something to eat. For instance, imagine if you were hunting prey that required hunter 1 to perhaps flush the prey and hunter 2 pounce on it, catch it and pounce on it. That'd be cooperation. We see that with bird dogs, a lot of hunting dogs. Hey, tell you what, dog, you go in those bushes and you flush that bird. I'll shoot it and you'll get a mighty good treat, a great big old large bone, and I'll get to eat the bird. We see forms of that with mankind and dogs in many forms. That's just one example I gave. But in some instances, that dog may flush the bird and you may miss the shot. In hunting, one animal may flush the prey and the other animal get pursued, or both get pursued and not catch the prey. That doesn't matter. The fact that cooperation occurred has been a bit of a head scratcher and has been persistent in being studied ever since Darwin. Darwin was one of the first ones to kind of write it down on a piece of paper and make it public in his belief that there is cooperation. There's altruistic behaviors in animals. Do they cooperate? And because again, as you really delve into science, you'll find that cooperation has boundaries and it really doesn't favor the individual fitness. That's what I mean, individual fitness. Numero uno. Let me look after me first. And it does go down to that, because if I don't take care of me, then I can't cooperate with anyone else. But Darwin hopped on this, and it's been studied ever since then, because we're trying to figure out what is really the purpose behind cooperation. And if it's there, how they become so present, such a prevailing influence on animal behavior, that it worked its way into the genetics of some animals. Why are you born predisposed to be more cooperative in comparison to the guy standing right next to you? Why? Man, I tell you what, raise kids. Just raise more than one kid and you'll be asking yourself that question all the time. Wait a minute here. You got the same chromosomes and all this sort of stuff, and yet you are completely opposite than the other one. You cooperate and you're a defector, for sure. Yeah, a lot of similarities, a lot of parallelisms that you can draw between humans and animals. Okay, but here's a couple things that we do know. And this will send us on our trail. And again, all of this information I'm putting out isn't just good to know, because it really is. I mean, I find it fascinating. But however, I am, as this week moves along, going to keep diving into this and use this to show you how it'll affect you and ownership of your dog. And then in future videos down the road, when I use the term, that dog is a cooperator, or that dog's a defector, or a producer, or a scrounger, and so on and so forth. As we move along through this week, you'll be able to go, I know what Bryan's talking about. I get it now. I'm seeing the big picture here. There you go. So a lot of fun. Okay, here's the things that we do know. Group living animals. Okay, group living animals. With me on that. Got it. Okay, so now imagine out there in the world right now, there was only one group. Just one. Maybe perhaps one wolf pack. That's it. There's no other wolf packs. Well, in this instance, natural selection favors the defector, the selfish animal. Yeah, it actually favors them because there's only one group. And if there's only like 5 of us, well, I'm going to be selfish and let you take all the risk. You do all that exploring. You're the one that walks across that thin ice. I'll see what happens to you. And I'll just hang out over here, kind of trail from behind. And then when you accomplish something great, well, I'm just betting that there might be something left over for me. So in one group, or what we call within group, within the group itself, it favors the individual to be more of a defector, more of a scrounger, more selfish. Okay, you got it? Now let's move on from there. The issue is, there's not just one wolf pack. There's not just one group of humans. There are multiple wolf packs and many examples of multiple groups. And now you got to think of it. Think of it almost like a gang in a way. These are competing groups. So once you're in this club, you're competing with all those other clubs out there. So here we go. So here's some more groups out here. Yep, there you go. So we call this between groups. Between groups. In other words, we have within group here, and then between groups, all the groups competing with one another. In that instance, natural selection favors cooperators. Yeah, in other words, if you want your group like a sport team. If you want your team to do better than the rest of the teams out there, then you need to cooperate within your team. You can't be selfish. You know the old saying, no I in team thing. See how we're getting with this? Hey, nature thought of that a long time before you did, a long time ago. All right, so between groups, not within group, it favors cooperators. And let me give the example. Let's alarm callers, for instance. You're in a group. If danger approaches, you as an individual within the group sounds the alarm because you're a cooperator. And that's big time because why? If I sound the alarm, I'm the one to scream for everyone else. Hey, there's danger. Well, I'm the obvious target. Everyone else may be hidden. They may be silent. But me, because I open my big mouth, I'm the one that predator is honing in on. I'm the one that hunter's honing in on. That danger now knows my presence because I just screamed. And all these other individuals in my group who didn't scream, they get to benefit from my actions. Therefore, that's why if there's only one group, it doesn't pay to be the guy to yell. It does not. Be quiet. However, because everyone's quiet and everyone is selfish and defectors, then the danger is able to approach and now can possibly kill many of those within the group because no one ever sounded the alarm and they got caught off guard. So therefore, nature says, well, you know what? If you got one alarm caller, wouldn't it be even better if you had multiple alarm callers? Yeah, instead of just one set of eyes, what about if we had 20 sets of eyes, 20 sets of ears and smelling capability? Yeah, sensing. You betcha. We can even fan out, spread out. Hey, you go watch the east, I'll watch the west, you north, you south, and you just watch right here in the middle. Yeah, it's incredible how this is. So therefore, and that's why those groups that have more cooperators in them outlast and survive longer and are able to have more offspring as a result and are able to colonize much more than a bunch of those selfish idiots in the group by themselves. God, that makes absolute sense. But this only works is if the group will export its productivity, meaning it takes advantage of that. So next thing you know, we got these two cooperating groups, and I denote those with circles versus the X. Well, they're able to get bigger, become much larger, many more individuals. So now all of a sudden, this 20-member wolf pack tells this small wolf pack that only has maybe 5 members, a bunch of defectors in it, get out of town. You got till noon to get out of town. And they colonize, they take over their territory, they expand. The bigger my grocery store, the more food there is. Yeah, there's a cost involved. I talked about that before. The larger it is, the more it takes to defend it. The more it takes to just make sure that you keep it all. But again, if you have a lot of members, you can do that. If you don't, you don't. So a lot of the wolf territories are, the size of them depends greatly upon how many members are in the pack. How can it be economically defensible to be able to keep that? So they spread out and boom, there goes those guys. Yep, and there goes them. And they're gone too. And next thing you know, you're down to 2. Wow. That sure helps out when we're out hunting because instead of 200 mouths out there trying to eat, well, it's just 20 on 20. Sure does work out. So as you see here, nature does favor in group living animals to be more of a cooperator than to be a defector. Now, your homework is, some of you sent in examples of what you believe in your household to be a producer. Which pet is the producer? Which one is the scrounger? Now, add to this. Which one is a cooperator? Which one do you believe to be a defector? Oh, I've owned them all. And a recent example is that when Captain was a young puppy, I did own another dog at that time, and his name was Dax, D-A-X-X, big German Shepherd, powerful, producer in all caps with 2 exclamation points on the end. That was him. Tough as all get out. Remind me of my police dog. 2 of the toughest dogs I've owned in my life who were big time producers. Well, I'm out there throwing the ball for my 2 dogs. Well, Captain as a young dog was much faster than Dax, much faster. So boom, there he goes like a rocket. He grabs the ball, brings it back, and because he beat Dax back, I picked up the ball, I threw it again. Yeah, till the 3rd time. And old Dax, he goes, I think I got this thing figured out. I'm a producer, remember? So, the 3rd time I threw that ball, Dax did not go after the ball. He went after Captain. That's right. He took out his competition. He attacked Captain. And from that day forward, if I didn't put one of them in a down state, one or the other, and I threw the ball and they were both jointly standing up, there was no more cooperation on the part of Captain in any sort of way. He had had nothing to do with that ball. Dax did not want to cooperate with Captain. He was a defector. He was selfish. It was all about Dax and not about Captain. I'm getting the ball. And also, when you start to identify your dog's personality traits, again, knowledge is power. And knowledge will help you with their training and at a minimum, help you to possibly understand why they are not cooperating. So when you move beyond all the other fundamental things, do they even know what I'm talking about? Did I present it in such a way that they can interpret it? Do they have a proper referent? Have I stereotyped the signal? Am I requiring them to stereotype the response? You work your way through all of that stuff. You're still going, God, what the heck, man? I swear I've done this like 100 times and the darn dog still won't do it. Could be working with a defector. Yep. Could be. Absolutely. And as you're starting to pick up on something too, because I know you're smart out there, notice you can be a producer, and a lot of producers are defectors. They are. Remember, I'm the one exploring. Why? Why? There's got to be a reason. Hey, I'm going to take this big risk. I need a big payoff. So it's not your payoff that I'm concerned about. It's mine. Man, then the other way around. Your scroungers are cooperators. Hence why I told you yesterday, scroungers are easier to train. So again, just a little bit of information for you today as we move along down these personality traits. And tomorrow we're going to take another look at not so much different traits, but ethologists believe that there are a few paths that have led to cooperation. What are the many things that have created cooperation in animals? I talked about one a long time ago in a video called kin selection, meaning it's family. It's family. Yeah, there's all sorts of all-parent care, altruistic behaviors when it comes to family. Not family, not so much. Family, band of brothers type of thing. So that was kin selection. Today we talked about group selection. Group selection, that's another path. Tomorrow I'll cover a couple more with you. And then after that, I'm going to tie a big old, put it all in a box and wrap it up with a big bow on it. And hopefully I will have just provided you with a little bit more information that'll help you problem solve and just simply help you understand. At a minimum, again, just give grace. Dang, I'm a defector. Is what it is. All right, guys, I've enjoyed my time with you. Get out there, get to train those dogs, regardless whether they're a cooperator or a defector, whether they're a producer or a scrounger. And please send me some more stuff in. Gosh, how much does it take to whip out a phone, take a picture of your dog, and try and label it the best you can? Send them in to me. Let's have a little bit of fun with this, guys, because this is fun. Let's make something really enjoyable out of it. And more than anything, let's lower our blood pressures and let's keep our dogs forever. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.